So Pete Buttigieg went to a Fight for 15 rally. He wasn't actually at the rally the whole time. He showed up later in a car and then got dropped off. And here's how he was greeted. Were they happy to see him, you ask? Well, let's find out. Check this out. This is kind of, sort of, really beautiful. They're chanting, if you can see it up here and you can hear it, Pete can't be our president. Where was 15 in South Bend? That's how Pete was greeted when he showed up at a Fight for 15 rally. Let's watch this. He's leaving.
To check out our disability plan, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that
we don't need to hear from him. I'd rather hear from the people. I'd rather hear from the people than hear from people. Judge. Those were unions and workers, and they were chanting, Pete can't be our president. Where was 15 in South Bend? And they were chanting Wall Street Pete. They didn't fall for the fact that he showed up later in a car. He wasn't marching with them. He showed up later for a photo op, and they said, no, thank you, Pete. No, thank you. Good for them. Good for them. Good for the Fight for 15. And good for those unions. And, man, I don't know. I guess it might be hitting Pete Buttigieg a little bit, because here's something else Pete Buttigieg did recently. Check this out. Buttigieg cancels Florida events due to cold. He had a cold. So I can tell you this. Do I know for sure that Pete Buttigieg doesn't have a cold or he's not ill? I don't know that for sure, but I will tell you this. In the concert industry, in the live event industry, when an event gets canceled because the artist has a cold, 90% of the time, it's because ticket sales were low. That's what's really going on. Ticket sales were low, so they canceled an event. Maybe Pete Buttigieg ain't all that popular, so they're canceling events. But let's see what they're claiming here. This is from The Hill. Democratic presidential candidate Pete Buttigieg has canceled events in Florida after falling ill with a cold, his campaign said Wednesday. The AP reported that Buttigieg's campaign said the former South Bend, Indiana mayor would meet in Charleston, South Carolina with the Reverend Al Sharpton as planned, while canceling 4 events in Florida, 3 of which were fundraisers. Buttigieg will also travel to Washington, D.C. and attend scheduled meetings with supporters. So, private meetings where there might be a paycheck involved, where there might be a little bit of donor money involved. Pete Buttigieg is healthy enough for those. But events for the people, he can't go. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting, the events he's picking and choosing here? It's almost like maybe Pete Buttigieg knows he has no chance of winning and just kind of wants to keep that money train rolling as long as he can so that Bernie doesn't get the majority of delegates going into the convention. Maybe, just maybe. That's the only reason a Pete Buttigieg is still in the race. Because he can't talk to the people. He can talk. I mean, really, read between the lines in that article. They're saying he can talk to the donors still, but not the people. The events where people might, because, hey, they might chant at him to go away again. Like what the Fight for 15 and the unions just did to him in South Carolina. That might happen to him again. He doesn't want that. So he doesn't have time to hear from the people. He doesn't have time for that. Because he has a cold. You watching at home, raise your hand if you had to go to work one time when you had a cold. Or you had to go to school one time when you had a cold. Or you had to I mean, I guess it might get on stage when you had a cold. Cold. Most people don't get to just blow off work when they have a cold. And I can't wait till they say something about Bernie's health. I can't wait till some Buttigieg supporters say something about Bernie's health and Bernie's age. Here's Pete Buttigieg. He has a cold. Is he going to have to cancel a State of the Union when he has a cold? What if he makes some horrible foreign policy decisions? Is he going to blame it on his cold? He had the sniffles. He had taken so much NyQuil that he was kind of loopy. And he bombed a bunch of countries. Whoops. He wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for that cold. Pete doesn't want to talk to the people. That's what's really going on. Pete Buttigieg. All right.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your